Kirby. Did you go live?
Yeah.
Hey! Somebody commented last week. Could you get all your stuff set up? You're wasting your viewers' time. I was like,
wrong show.
I was like, hit fast forward, asshole.
Wrong show. Howdy ho, neighbors.
Howdy ho, neighbor.
Live from Culotta's house this week. Not quite the setup Sconey has outside.
Let's see if I can freeze our ass.
All right, bro. All right.
Bro, so I gotta tell you what I did, man. I went to,
Wilson.
Neighbor?
Hi ho, neighbor. How about every time Tim would then try to go explain the lesson he learned from Wilson? he fuck it up.
All right, getting set up over here for a little whiskey wine. Post-game as LSU clinches the West. More records fall. We'll get them to you here.
Hey, my apologies to the asshole who's like, hey, why are you wasting your viewers' time? Can you get set up before? No.
Wrong show, buddy. Looking for organization and on time, you got the wrong spot. Shout out to our guy David Richardson, builder, realtor, one-stop shop. Give our boy a call at 413-3267 from the living room tonight. Over here at Culotta's place.
Oh, wonderful.
Got the kids in the back. I'd have made the trip over to Sconey's place, but got little Jay and a couple of his little partners back there.
Hey bro, I need your long ass password again for my tablet. Is it just on the wall in there?
No, it's on the thing. I'm gonna go take a picture of it.
Do that. Jordy's like 4% sign A lowercase b 7 decimal point. So if you're watching at halftime, thank you. Oh, there.
How was halftime? I was out at the.
Why did you go out there?
Because little Jay wanted to go out there with his buddies, and we went out there and they played football and they got mud from head to their toe. They were fucking dripping wet, cold. It was disgusting. So we came home right before start of the game and then find out that Facebook's still messing up. So
I tried it, bro.
I know, man.
All right, we're in.
So no,
we're in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I went to. So I did pregame with T, and then Erica's family all gets together for the games and everything. And for me, like I'm watching the game, I'm doing taking notes. It's just I just can't do a big gather, which they understand. But so my buddy Jared Moore, who's a server over at Rufino's, my favorite meal in the world. So fit of rage, I murder somebody. Judge says, Scone, you're sentenced to death.
Last meal.
You get one meal. I'm going, starting off with a little Pappy 15. Okay? Little Pappy 15. Then we'll bring on the 45-day dry-aged ribeye with the little grilled potatoes on there.
Yeah.
Nice glass of vino, the red wine.
Good.
We'll finish it up with the cheesecake with the raspberry drizzle and coffee. That's where I'm going, okay? Well, Rufino's used to have this meal on their menu. It was the most expensive meal on the menu. Very few people order it. And the reality is, if you've never had a dry-aged steak, then you don't know what you're drinking or eating with a dry-aged steak. The texture is going to be a little different, but it's the most phenomenal thing that I've ever. It's my favorite thing in the world. I love it. And so Jared on Thursday is like, hey, bro, he texted me the special menu. Every now and again, Rufino's brings it back as a special. So I'm like, oh, man, well, couldn't go last night. I can't go tomorrow. So I was like, I got to go get the steak. So Pre-game ends, I bust it over to Rufino's. I sit there by myself,
Wow.
eat my steak first half,
Wow.
and I'm about to leave. And they also, at Rufino's in the past, have done their private select Maker's Mark. So they've gone to Maker's Mark, and they've done and what you can do when you get your private select is you can pick what staves you want to finish it with. So it even denotes on the back what staves you've done. So this is like the Baked American Puree, the Seared French Cuvée, the Maker's 46, the French Mocha, all that. Anyway, and so like their barrel, there's no barrel in the world like theirs. It's their own private barrel select. So this is what they sell at Rufino's when you get their Maker's private barrel. Look, it's even labeled with Rufino's on it. So I'm leaving. He goes, "Oh, you doing whiskey and wine?" Put that in my bag. I was like, "Howard, you're a scholar and gentleman. Don't tell Ruffin." But nonetheless, I'm popping this open.
Wow.
It's fantastic. I've had it 100 times. If you've never had it, you go to Rufino's, order it. It's a beautiful, beautiful whiskey, and I'm thrilled to be able to pour it here tonight on whiskey and wine. So, boom.
Cheers,
And in person, we will do cheers, and we will toast. Cheers. Cheers to all of you.
Back to Atlanta.
Man,
What's the thing you're most thankful for tonight as we cheers, Scone? For LSU football and all their accomplishments up to this point.
Joe Burrow.
11-0.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, man? I remember in 2007 when LSU lost to Arkansas. A lot of people were dismissive of going to Atlanta for the SEC championship, and it was a bummer, right? I mean, this was a team that was number one in the country, and they were supposed to go win the national championship, and they lose in 3 overtimes to Arkansas, and people are bummed. And I remember, me and Josh Ennis were doing the fastest hour at the time, and man, I remember over and over and again that week saying, "Look, the SEC championship is not a consolation." You know, it is in and of itself a great prize, to be able to win the SEC. So, man, just for LSU to get back there for the first time in 8 years, to have a chance to go to Atlanta again. I mean, LSU, bro, the last time LSU football was in Atlanta was for that fucking Peach Bowl against Clemson after the 12 season, right? Whenever they just kind of quit on the game late.
Gave it away.
Yeah, the game away.
Who was that they knocked out on the second play of the game? What was your boy, wide receiver for Kansas City, Sammy Watkins? Mingo killed him. I mean, and then Jeremy Hill's running wild. That was one of those games where Hill was running wild and didn't give it back to him. So how about this? LSU football,
Jesus.
First team in SEC history to have a 4,000-yard passer, which, by the way, Burrow crosses the 4,000-yard mark tonight.
And 40 touchdowns.
2 1,000-yard receivers, and Clyde goes over 1,000 on the ground. So for the first time in SEC history, an offense has a 4,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher, 2 wide receivers with over 1,000 yards. LSU, the SEC Western Division champs. That's the 6th time that LSU's won the Western Division. They stamped their ticket to Atlanta. They'll play Georgia. It's Georgia today. Snuck out of home. Snuck out of the hedges with a close one over A&M.
Hey, man.
But you know what? LSU Georgia for the whole deal.
I'm not a
First weekend in December.
Look, I'm not the kind of guy that's going to be like, "Hey, get ahead of yourself and count your chickens before they hatch" and all that shit. I sat there on pregame and watched that whole Georgia game. They suck.
Offensively?
Defense has some good players, but the second A&M started going tempo, that's when they started moving the ball in the second half. I'm like, that's what LSU does. I'm like, oh, look at the Ducks. My bro, the Georgia, their secondary doesn't have a prayer against LSU.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was listening to McElroy tonight saying that they could guard LSU. I was thinking, what game was he watching? That they can match up with Marshall and Jefferson. You might have a guy or two that can take Chase.
I'm watching. Who's the kid Rogers with the long yellow dreads coming out the back from A&M Rogers, and then Courtney Davis. I'm like, bro, as soon as they got rolling with some tempo, Georgia had nothing for them. I'm like, just wait. Oh, Oregon scored. Bro, look at this. All of a sudden, how you feel about this right now? We got some. Yo, we got some. Well, we got to talk about this game, but we got some action brewing right now. I mean, if Arizona State beats Oregon, the whole thing goes to shit. Like you have a gigantic
big cluster.
Well, I mean, we can talk about what you think happens in this case. But shout out to Dead Socks. Did I give you socks from Dead Soxy?
No, I need socks, though.
I didn't give you socks yet?
No,
oh,
socks
bro.
terrible.
Dead Soxy is giving all guests on AFR socks.
If you come on the show, they give you socks?
Yeah. So,
who's the AE on that?
Me. Nate, but me. But Nate, So they got this they patented no slip shit.
Which I love.
Bro, look. It's got these little silicone jelly things. I put these on at 9 a.m.
They haven't moved?
They haven't moved. Hook
it up.
It's the most incredible thing.
Hook it up.
Dead Soxy. Use GO, promo code GEAUX, 25% off.
Hook it up.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I'll give you some. I got some in the office. All right, let's talk about this game, bro. Y'all please hit the share too, by the way, if you're in it. All right, what you got? You start. Or I'll start if you want to start.
Well, I just think that my starting point would be the accomplishments of tonight. I mean, what you got a quarterback that crosses the 4,000-yard barrier. You got a running back that crosses the 1,000-yard mark. I think I saw 6 carries totaled 188 yards and 3 touchdowns tonight for LSU at one point.
Brian Champagne just said Joe Burrow won him $24,000 because he's going to win the Heisman. Bro. $24,000?
He was 250 to 1. He was 250 to 1.
Are you going to New York?
Yes.
You're going.
I'm going. Me and Hester.
Hester's going. T-Bob's not going. I was like, bro, I may just buy a plane ticket.
Why not?
The LSU quarterback's going to win the Heisman. I'm like, I kind of want to be there.
60 years to the date to the last time it's happened.
Of the
59.
presentation?
The
year. Yeah. No. 60 years for Cannon, for sure.
I mean, it doesn't happen. It never happens. I mean, it's a generational thing.
It's going to happen again.
I'm taking Jay.
It's going to happen again.
Yeah. I think.
It's
kind of like the Ingram Henry.
Yes.
Once you get in that offense, you have that
the
type
other
of
one.
attention.
I think the closer parallel, and O has said this too.
Leinart.
Carson Palmer.
Leinart.
So USC hadn't had one in forever.
And then
Carson Palmer comes in, wins it in 2002.
Reggie wins it. Reggie Bush.
04's Leinart, 05's Reggie Bush, and then obviously you get John David Booty, you get Sanchez. You start getting those players. That's why I keep saying, man, anyone who says it's no big deal if they don't get downplay the Heisman, I'm like, the Heisman is a massive deal. There's a reason it's the most prestigious individual award in sports. Like what this would do to elevate LSU to be able to go on the recruiting trail. Jordy, they got every other position.
Yep.
But it's like if all of a sudden now you're doing what Georgia did, where you're going Jacob Easton, Jake Fromm, Justin Fields, just 5-star, 5-star, like every year you're getting a 5-star. Right, even if they keep transferring, one of them's going to hit.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, just keep throwing them at the wall.
Yeah. Okay. But that's the position that's evaded LSU in a decade of Steven Rivers, who I love as a guy, but come on.
Right.
Who was the jackleg out of Mississippi who signed with Russell Shepard?
Yep. Number 13.
Remember that kid?
Yep. Garrett.
Jason? No.
Cole.
No.
Garrett. Something Garrett. But what about
Justin Garrett?
What about the guy out of South Florida that they signed that ended up at Arizona State? What was this guy, the dual threat quarterback that he was out of Miami? I mean, like, dude, the cardboard boxes that they've had come through the program is amazing. I mean, it's like NFL backups. I mean, you're smoking mirrors with Anthony Jennings. You got a chance to win the game with that guy at quarterback. I mean, and now you got a guy that's throwing for 4,000 yards. I mean, you got 2 wide receivers with 1,000 yards. You got a running back that goes over 1,000 tonight.
Cortland Jacobs said the only thing that makes me nervous is the votes from former Ohio State and Oklahoma players pulled the media votes from the North. So, there's first of all, there's not enough former Ohio State and Oklahoma players that pull votes. That's number one. Number two, the fact that Tua is now out means Joe Burrow is going to win the entire Southeast. Yep. Like the whole southern part of the country is all going to be Burrow vote. And because he's from Ohio, he's going to pull votes from the Midwest. Yeah. I don't think there's any question. Today, in my opinion, this was it. Justin Fields today had a chance. And he throws for 188 and a couple of scores, but he fumbled twice. And if you watch the game, he wasn't good. It's like, Anybody who watched that today and thought, oh, maybe this is his opportunity to get into it, you punted that today. Like, if next week he throws for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns against Michigan, maybe it becomes a conversation the final week. But let's get real. That ain't what he is. So
No, I'm with you.
I mean,
I said the Monday morning after the game in Alabama that you could start the nameplate. I mean, you could put his name on it, which was probably a little bold. But I mean, as the days have continued to move on, I mean, I think that all the signs point towards him, man. I mean, like, now I'm asking, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire going to win the Doak Walker Award?
You know what's so interesting about Clyde too, and Clyde is, if you go look at the national rushing leaders, he's like 50th. Hang on, I'm gonna look at this right now. Clyde is not near the top of the country as far as national rushing leaders. But what's happened with Clyde? Let's see. Clyde is he came in today 27th in the country in rushing. Typically, a guy 27th ain't in a Doak Walker conversation. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not when you got, Chuba Hubbard from Oklahoma State is at 1,700 yards. Jonathan Taylor
had a good day today,
at 1,400. A.J. Dillon's at 1,400. ATN, J.K. Dobbins. I mean, just think about what we're talking about here. You know what I mean? DeAndre Swift, all these guys. Dude, coming into today, Jalen Hurts had more rushing yards than Clyde.
Wow.
So, but Clyde,
watch the games.
He has been his biggest on the biggest stages, so everyone's noticed. And anybody who paid attention at all tonight, and you look at his stat line, he went 6 carries for 188 and 3 scores. Yeah. He averaged 31 yards a carry tonight. So it's like that's the kind of thing where people go,
it's right here.
He's in the time of year where awards are won because people are starting to think that way. He's doing this. So I don't know if he's going to win it. I doubt he wins it. But I do think he'll have a seat in Orlando as a finalist.
Absolutely.
I think he'll clinch that with another big game.
And I think he's definitely won the Horning Award, which goes to the most versatile player in college football. I mean, I just think that because of just what you explained, when you turn on the TV, he affects the game in so many ways. You know what I mean? Like he's a great pass catcher. I mean, he's proved that he can hit the home run. I think that was a knock on him last year, especially like at the beginning of the the Central Florida game, the opening kickoff where he busted loose. And I mean, like
he got caught.
Yeah, he got caught from behind. I mean, he's had opportunities this year where he's had the same scenario. Tonight he could have gotten caught.
The 89-yarder tonight, I thought he was going to get caught. He did a great job.
Then Auburn, where he kind of cut back in,
Yep.
and that got him caught. But I mean, like he didn't get caught from behind. So I think he's the most versatile player in college football, which that award goes to. I think Odell was the first one to win that award in 2013.
Yep.
And
I think he's definitely the front runner for it.
Yeah. And I think it's a lot because of what you said. I mean, it just every time you turn on the game and it's a big moment for LSU, he's usually the top 3 player on the field. I mean,
Patrick Kimmery. I love Jordy's Native American wolf art in the background.
Shout out Alex Harvey.
All right, so let me get through y'all. And I'm watching all of your. A lot of people are asking about Ohio State. Let's get there. Let's do some stuff on the game on this game first.
Wow, look at TCU. They must have had a defensive touchdown.
Jesus, 28-24. Bro, see, so this is Oklahoma's problem. Okay, Oklahoma. The door is open for Oklahoma, especially if Oregon loses, which it looks like they're gonna. Yeah. But the door is open for Oklahoma. The problem for Oklahoma right now is you have to win impressively.
Yeah.
And
that was what Ohio State was trying to do today.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
But they failed.
They did.
And the thing about Oklahoma, last week you score a win over a previously unbeaten team and you move up 1 spot. The committee just doesn't. They don't like Oklahoma.
Respect them.
They don't at all.
Yeah.
So here's a 5-5 TCU team, and you're middling around with them. You know, now next week you get Oklahoma State, which is also going to be a ranked opponent. And then you'll have a ranked team in the Big 12 championship game. That's 3 of your last 4 games against ranked opponents. But bro, you got to beat them convincingly. They just ain't doing it. So, all right, I wrote down 3 things from tonight, and there's more. We'll get to all your stuff as well. Please hit the share, by the way, if you haven't done so yet. I thought Jonathan Hamlet said, "I need some socks, Matt." Jonathan, Go to deadsoxy.com, SOXY. Use the promo code GO, GEAUX. Will save you 25%. Great people, great socks. Burrow became the fourth quarterback in the history of the SEC to throw for 4,000 yards.
Did they name the other ones?
I know him. It's Tim Couch. Tim Couch has the record at like 42.85. He did it in 11 games, by the way.
Damn. Is that 95?
98.
98.
Tim Couch, Drew Lock in 2017 did it, and Manziel in 13, the year after his Heisman season.
Damn.
He did it. Those are the only three in the history of the SEC.
For 4,000 yards.
The number 4 is Tua last year, who threw for 39.66. He was just short of it. And obviously, if he had played into a fourth quarter in any of the first 8 games of the season, he would have done it too. But so Burrow becomes only the fourth quarterback in the history of the SEC to throw for 4,000 yards, and he did it in 11 games, by the way. So it's worth noting that Tim Couch had set the record at 42.85 in 11 games, and Burrow today crossed 4,000 yards in his 11th game. So he's only the second in the history of the league to do it in just 11 games. So and he'll obliterate this record.
Yeah.
He'll break Tim Couch's record next week, and then he'll have the SEC championship semi, and then we hope a final game as well. So he'll obliterate the record, which may never be touched. So that's massive, just for context. Jacoby Stevens had 3 sacks tonight.
Jacoby Stevens played his ass off.
So you know what happened?
Yeah.
So
Oxford.
So they with Delpit out, they played Mo Hampton at free,
right?
And Jacoby moved to strong and played the spot Delpit played last year, and he balled out. And it goes to show you, man, in Aranda's defense, if you have that athlete that can play that position in the box where you can bring him on blitz, you can play him against the run, you can play him in coverage against running backs and tight ends. Like, if you have the right athlete there, they can be awesome. And Stevens was today. I mean,
he was. You
realize Stevens today had as many sacks, as much as we talked about Divinity, Jacoby Stevens has as many sacks today as Divinity had all season.
Talking to people around the program, that they'll tell you the only piece of drama that they had this year was Michael Divinity.
Was Divinity.
And I mean, like, up until this point, he has not been worth the 7 or 8 plays that he's given you this year.
It's true.
You know, I mean, the 2 or 3 against Texas, the 2 or 3 against Florida. I mean, he was not worth it. But I think that Ogeron did him a solid by extending him a shot to come back to the team, give him some stability in his life.
I agree.
Give him some things that, give him somewhere to be at a certain time. Give him some accountability. And look, Ogeron's got his own. He's got his own benefits from doing this. This gives him a great calling card to go into the city of New Orleans and talk about protecting one of their own that played for LSU. Because the real story on Divinity, like you've done over the last couple of days on air.
I'm sick of pussyfooting around.
Right. I mean, he failed a drug test.
Kid kept smoking weed.
Yeah.
He couldn't stop smoking weed.
And I mean, he's now he's suspended for 6 games. I mean, they have to make the national championship for him to be eligible. And I don't necessarily know if they'd even play him if they got there and he was eligible.
You don't start it.
No.
But are there packages where he gets on the field, rush? Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
And I'll take him.
Pin your ears back.
I'll take him for a dozen third downs.
Plays.
Yeah. And in his hometown, championship game, perseverance, you could sell that whole thing, and I buy it too. And good for him for wanting to come back and all that stuff. So I'm about it. So but the reality is, the great thing that happened today is you got Grant Delpit rest.
Yeah.
Stevens was awesome. Mo Hampton was not a liability. And next week you're going to play an A&M team which is flaccid. They are impotent offensively. They can't do anything.
Which is crazy.
You know what it shows you is how much they need Travion Williams. If you don't respect A&M's run, it doesn't open up anything in the pass game. It's why a guy like Joe Burrow is so... Bro, there was a play today in that ball game where Rodgers is running a post. And so he's left hash, and the safety's 10 yards behind him, and he's got the corner beat.
You're talking about the Georgia Tech and A&M?
Yeah, A&M. So A&M, Rodgers is streaking across. He's open. And this is when it's a 16-6 or 16-3 ball game, Like, A&M needs a third quarter. And kid's open. And if you hit him, if he gets to the corner before the safety, he scores. And Mon just tries to loop, and he just airmails it to nothing. And it's like, you got a 6'4" gazelle, and you overthrow him. Like, he couldn't even get a hand on the ball. I'm like, that's the kind of play where the play call worked, the scheme worked, it was the right call, the right moment, everything, and you didn't have the guy that could make the throw. And I'm like, now try that with Stingley on a guy, right, and Fulton covering that. Like, now your windows get tighter, and you can't make that throw.
That's the deal on LSU. You may be able to stop.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Look at that play. I mean, was that 95 yards?
Kev talking about them devil now.
God, dog, Arizona State.
Arizona State is going to beat Oregon. 81 yards.
19.
81 yards, bro.
He put that thing on the button.
Gone. Oregon's going to lose. So Oregon loses this ball game. So 89-yard touchdown for, 81-yard. That was a flag. This has got to be celebration, huh? Something.
How bad was the celebration call on LSU? How bad was that?
All right.
You got the two guys telling them to stop, and then the asshole throws the flag from the back at their feet. And I mean, like, I'm thinking about this team at their celebrations all season. That's the first flag they've gotten on a celebration. They've gone straight horns down in Austin.
Horns down.
Clyde and Sadiq, straight horns down on them.
Jefferson has done the jet stand. I don't know. I'm a nerdy white guy. I have no idea what that is, but it looks cool. Bro.
I mean, Clyde spiked it in Tuscaloosa.
He was Clyde.
Jumps over the top, spikes it. Bro, that's the one where the referee, that was where I think LSU, to the national audience, to everybody that was doubting, that 90 seconds right there before half had everybody in the country stunned, including the referee.
They had no idea.
Because the ball landed at his feet off the spike, and he was just kind of like, holy shit, they're beating the hell out of Alabama in Tuscaloosa.
Bro, and one more thing. Did you see my post from the Catholic game last night?
No, I didn't.
Brother, y'all got to go look at my Facebook page. Catholic's at the 2. Whatever. 1. At the 1. Quarterback out of shotgun. Hut.
They won, though, right?
He dives across the goal line. Half his torso is across the goal line, right? Side judge comes walking in.
No, he didn't.
Whistle him down. The side judge isn't even looking at the play. He's doing this. Like, so he's standing at the goal line, right? Here's the play. They're going this way. He's looking. He's going, hey, you, get back. You get back. Hey. And he turns, and the play, it's a scrum. The play's over. And so then he starts, I'm like.
Ball spotted the one.
So I posted on Twitter, and some guy with ref in his handle's like, oh, why don't you think you could do so much better? It's like, why don't you become a ref and be part of the solution instead of. I was like, hey, bro. I was like, you don't need me. I was like, you literally just need a human that can watch the field, and it's an upgrade. Who did?
Oklahoma fumbled. They called that strip a fumble.
Wow.
Holy shit. No, I'm with you, dude. I mean, like I'm in the refereeing. I'm in the officiating fraternity. And I had to watch my cell phone play-by-play in high school this year. The high school officiating. I was like, holy cow.
It's the thing.
Holy cow. Is it that bad?
Yes. I'm so glad I don't have to look at it anymore. How about the roughing on 9 on the 3rd and 11?
That felt like an NFL call.
It's a new rule in college, too. It's the second time they popped them with it this year. Because I remember I asked Ogeron on a Monday, what do you do? Because it was Brooks.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you do? Like, how do you teach that now? And he said, we used to teach guys go late, go low. Yeah. Like, if you're late, just affect his feet to make him affect the pass. Yeah, yeah. Like, he said, that's what we used to teach. He's like, you can't do it anymore. We just got to teach these guys pull up. And Brooks, and I look. How
fast did he close on that cat though?
No doubt.
I mean, he got there.
He's fun. But that was at a point where LSU scores to open the game. They force a 3 and out. LSU has to punt, but then Arkansas gets the ball, and you forced them on a 3 and out, and then that penalty, and then they went down to kick the field goal, and now LSU got the ball, bro, and that's when they had the sack, they had the holding on 73.
Yeah, 73 got whooped tonight. He got whooped.
They need Sadiq back. Well, guess good.
Yeah.
The
And
good
here we
news
go.
is
He doesn't miss another game.
Sadiq's had his adequate rest now. But like sneakily, the benefit of Sadiq,
Yes.
like having this 6-game suspension,
He's like
is
Chase Young.
he's so fresh.
Did you see Chase Young in that game today? Bro, he looked like it was fucking August out there. I mean, it was like the first day of training camp for that cat. He's picking people, just throwing people aside, fucking grabbing them. I'm like, look, I mean, dude, they did him a favor.
Bro,
They did him a favor.
If I had that guy with like golden dreadlocks
He looks like the Terminator, bro. He
sitting
looks
like standing across from me, that was almost a pick six, bro.
It was.
I would be so devastated. I would quit.
Yeah.
You know necessary roughness. Yeah. You know whenever the nerdy quarterback gets in the, he's like, oh my god,
I recognize you, you poop up motherfucker. You the one that raped my sister. He's like, no, that wasn't me, man. That wasn't me.
Oh, God.
Yes, it was.
He goes, I got the
Yes, it was. I hadn't forgot your face.
He goes, oh God, don't hurt me.
That wasn't me, bro. That wasn't me.
Okay. That wasn't me. All right. Joseph Fuselier, what's up? Kevin Ivey, Adam Clark, what's up? Brandon Atchison, Stephen Wallace, Kenny Russell, Randall Corns, Robert Boudreau, Markel Pickett, good morning. Jamie Levine, Patrick Walker, Danny Jackson, Matt Irby. Let's see. Joseph Fuselier, looks like a rematch with Bama Oregon is going down. Jeff McKithen, Pappy 23 when they win it all on me. Jeff, if you're serious, you tell me where to be, I'll take a pour with you, bro. You got a Pappy 23 and you're willing to share a pour, I'm in. You just tell me where to be. Colby Hester, what's up? Jay Brabham, good. What's up? Chris Blades.
Hey, boy. Look at me when I talk to you, motherfucker. You didn't think I'd find your ass again, did you? I recognize you.
He goes, down. Oh, my God. He goes, hi. It's like,
in that Mississippi State? Are they playing like in the
that
team
was
Mississippi State?
Or was
Then he ripped the head.
that was in the program.
Oh, what are we talking about?
Necessary roughness.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. That was the program. That was the program. That was that was the linebacker from the program.
Yeah.
Necessary roughness is when Scott Bakula 40 years ago.
Stonehands.
Don't throw the
Stonehands.
Stonehands. Well, no, like the Bakula gets hurt and has to go out the game for a play. And they put in the nerdy guy with the glasses who, like, there's one point in the game when one point in the movie they're practicing the gym and he throws it into the basketball hoop and he goes, I thought you could do one of these. He goes, and then the coach goes, now we know he sucks at 2 sports.
Isn't the coach the teacher off of summer school? Mark.
Mark's, I don't know. Yeah. Sinbad's in it.
Yeah, he's in it.
Andre don't eat raw meat because Andre's a vegetarian. Eat whatever the hell you want, Andre. All right, let's see. All right.
Fuck, the program is great.
Oh, the program's great.
Baby lost his bonnet. Mary pulls his fucking helmet off.
Latimer,
takes his helmet off the field.
That was Latimer when he pulled the Mississippi State helmet. Yeah, he runs off
the field with the helmet. Starting defense. Hell yeah.
Hey, one more. How about the freshman quarterback from Arkansas? Not once, but twice.
Sliding before the first down? I mean, if I'm coaching that cat, because he's fit, because he looks like a freak.
He's 6'3", 220.
It's like, dude, 2 inches, bro. 2 inches.
The third,
and the first one he stepped out of bounds and didn't slide.
But Jordy, the bigger one was the second one because that was with You got under 2 minutes before half. They had to punt to LSU to give them. That's how LSU scored again before half.
Did you see the coaching staff when he was coming off the field? When he was sitting the punt team on. He was like, "God damn, man, bunt the motherfucker."
He's like, I'm not getting this job. Like in that moment as a coach, what do you? It's like, hey, you're 6'3". Just lean.
Did he get it? No, coach. He slid an inch short. He slid an inch short of the line. He didn't get it. We got a punt.
Oh man,
2 inches is a lot, Jordy. Tell me about it, bro.
Oh my
I know all about it.
Let's see. Bird Gunter, Matt, I need a recommendation for a good cigar to have handy. Well, I'm not a great cigar connoisseur, but
the hell you're not.
You
put me on one last weekend.
That was Cohiba. Cohibas. If you can get a Cohiba, if you know someone who's going to a foreign country, South Mexico, the islands, and get you a Cohiba, get you a box of Cohibas, man. Run you about $220 to $250 for a box. Get you 25 cigars in a box. I mean,
who wants that Arkansas job? Who would you hire? Did you hear McElroy say Kiffin?
Kiffin's not a bad option.
I mean, don't you have to think outside the box like that? Don't you have to go get somebody like that?
If you bring in Kiffin, you get a lot of notoriety, which is no doubter. Hey, my guy's got a real fire rolling. You could look. If you bring in Lane Kiffin, the reality is, you get into any house in America. So there's a benefit there.
Can anybody ever get players there in 2019? The SEC.
Yep.
You got to get Texas. You got to steal a couple from Louisiana.
North Louisiana, Texas, Tennessee. Go recruit Memphis. That's why I think Mike Norvell would be a good. I mean, Mike Norvell's a good coach. He's obviously recruited Memphis. Similar areas. If you can get him, you have to pay him a lot of money, but Arkansas's got money.
Malzahn's
here we go.
Job, is he?
Give me a shout out.
Malzahn's
I'm determined. Help me out,
job.
Tiger Nation. Seriously, Stephen Baker wants a shout out.
Steven, what's up, man?
Stephen Baker, my dude. Hats off to you, Stephen Baker. Mark Harmon, summer school.
Harmon, summer school.
NCIS for 20 years. There you go, Sean Doyer. Thank you.
Yep.
What else did I have on this? How about Justin Jefferson having his first drop of the season between the numbers? Huge spot too.
It was.
But you know what happened?
And then went to him 3 straight times after that. He caught all 3 of them. And did you see him after the drop? How anxious he was to get back to the line. Like, let's run the next play.
Yeah.
Like, man, I messed that up. Come back to me.
Went right to him.
Yeah.
The only play that didn't go to him was Burrow had the 15-yard scramble. They gave him first and goal.
Yep.
The first down play got tipped, and then Jefferson scored on the second down.
You think they let Burrow in too long?
Fuck no. They pulled him exactly when I thought they would. I was hoping they'd give him another series, let him go throw for another 100 yards. Rashard Lawrence had 2 tackles for loss.
Oh, Rashard played real good.
He did
tonight.
play good tonight.
I mean, he was constantly in the backfield.
Jamar Chase's fumble. He was probably down.
Haven't we been waiting on a mistake from those two all season long to see his drop and his fumble in the same game in the same half? I'm all right with it. I'm all right with it.
You know the other thing I got to check on here? Hang on. Is that Thad Moss. Let me check it. Thad Moss might have set the LSU record for receptions by a tight end. She's watching?
Uh-huh.
Hey, babe.
What's the one that Dixon has that's untouchable? It's a touchdown record, right? Did he score 10 touchdowns?
No. Maybe in his career.
Yeah, got to talk about career.
Not in the season.
Not in the season.
I looked up. Someone asked me last week, so I went and looked up the single season reception mark by a tight end, and it's
Brian Kinchen.
No. Dixon had. Oh, now I go look it up on Twitter.
I got LSUsports.net up right here.
Well, I don't know if you have the. They're not gonna have a record receiving by a tight end on there. But I went back and looked up like David LaFleur in '96, Robert Royal in 01. I think Royal's 2000 might have even been better than his 01. Anyway, it wasn't as good as you thought it was.
Yeah.
It was in the teens.
The Tennessee game where he caught the winner in OT.
2000.
Yeah. Was he on the 01 team?
Yeah. Oh yeah. God dog it. Now I need to go find this. Let's see. I don't know where it is.
You know what was a
Anyway,
little concerning tonight?
God dog it. I even looked it up.
Was and this is what you talk about when you're covering the number one team in the country. Was I thought Von Rosenberg looked like shit tonight.
He had a rough night. He had 2 shanks that I was a little like, God damn, Zach.
26-yarder on one of them.
Yep, went out around the 40-yard line.
Yeah.
That was bad.
I mean, here's the deal, because that's how you beat LSU. If you stop them twice, you're in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like that's if Georgia's probably thinking like watching them play today. They want to suck the air out of the clock, take a game where Burrow gets on an average 18 to 22 possessions a game. Knock that number down to maybe 14 to 16 by sucking the clock down, just playing keep away from him, and if they can stop him twice, 14, 16 possessions, take away, get down to 12 or 11 where they have stops. That to me is how you beat LSU. And if you do stop them one or two times,
six in the first half.
You got to have a good punter. Is that too many?
Yes. LSU had 11, 12. I think LSU had 13 for the game. Now, keep in mind, they did lose a fucking onside kick, which is something else we got to talk about. Like, that's what is wrong with this team. And I hope and pray that they don't come down to a situation in this season where they're playing in the national championship game and they got to recover a fucking onside kick.
It's nerve-wracking.
Texas was nerve-wracking.
Yep.
Auburn was nerve-wracking. They lost one last week. Did they lose one? They lost one. They obviously lost one tonight where they kicked it 50 yards down the field. I mean, and there was that's PI. That's PI. That's a big. Ooh, TCU's dropped. Bro, is TCU going to go beat Oklahoma? Bro, just when we think chalk's going to hold, it never does in November, man. It never, ever does in November. Give me what's up with Oregon? Is that over? 31. Dude's 31-28.
Look at Tennessee won.
Good for them, bro. They're bowl eligible. Good for Pruitt.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. I'm not surprised. Missouri sucks shit. All right, so we got 20. Are they going to win? Who's got the ball? Oh, Arizona State's got the ball. 28 seconds.
Herbert's taking off his.
Herbert's taking off his shit.
It's like they're kneeling.
What a win, bro. So Oregon's out. You're not getting in as a 2-loss champion.
Oregon's done.
But Oregon's already clinched their division.
Yeah.
So now let me ask you this.
The championship game.
All right, so now let me ask you this. By the way, Sun Devils plus 13.5. Cheers. That's devastating for Cristobal, bro. I mean,
it is.
You were. I mean, all you got to do is win out, and you're in. So here's my question for you now. Let's say LSU beats Georgia. LSU wins out. Ohio State, Clemson win out. So that's your 1, 2, 3. Utah beats Oregon. Utah beats two-loss Oregon. Do you go 12-1 Utah? Oklahoma wins out. Do you go 12-1 Oklahoma? Or do you go 11-1 Alabama?
See, I think Alabama's out at this point. I do. I mean, I think if you have that scenario, I think it's a television show and they're looking for ratings, and I think that they would take Oklahoma. In the sense of brand recognition, Oklahoma's been there. They know that they'll pull viewers. And from an explanation standpoint, if you're trying to sell me on 1-loss Oklahoma, 1-loss Alabama, or a Pac-12 champion.
So no 1-loss conference champion has ever been left out.
That's why I'm counting on the people in the room.
In the playoff era. So you've never had a situation where a one-loss conference champion has been left out for a non-champion.
They rush to the field.
You've had non-champions get in over champions, but never one-loss. So when Bama got in 2 years ago, they got in over two-loss conference champions. So you've never had a situation where a one-loss conference champion was leapfrogged by a non-champion. So it would be unprecedented for Bama to get in, provided Utah wins the Pac-12 or Oklahoma wins the Big 12 as a one-loss team. So the one question kind of becomes also, though, what happens if, let's say, Oregon beats Utah in the Pac-12 championship game? And so now you have the decision of a one-loss Oklahoma. Well, provided Oklahoma doesn't lose to TCU, which they may. Yeah. Flip that shit back on. Or Bama. That may be Bama's ticket back in.
They must have just got a big play.
Turnover? 1-4. They're doing the Saints. Look, everyone in football is copying the Saints celebration now where they go pose in the end zone. If y'all haven't done so yet, please hit the share button. Cheers to all of you for watching. Love you. Andy Jones said, what about Baylor? So if Baylor wins out, Baylor is behind Oklahoma. So I don't know that the committee is going to respect Baylor for avenging that loss, but coming from behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like now, but again, you have a one-loss Power 5 champion in Baylor. Like, would that be enough?
You think Auburn's going to beat Alabama?
No, I don't. I just don't think that kid is going to score enough, and I think Alabama still got enough athletes, and they'll win the game.
Yeah.
You?
I feel like the defense, Auburn's defense, is going to be something that Alabama obviously has not seen this year. But when it comes down to athletes, I think that Alabama, they balance the scale real quick with everything, but with losing Tua. But I kind of feel like Auburn's going to get them. Like I kind of feel like,
hey bro, this is a shot.
Auburn's, like you got the crack.
Now Jeb Whitley said, can Minnesota mess this up? Now that's a good question.
What about beating Ohio State?
So if Minnesota wins next week against Wisconsin, so next week Minnesota and Wisconsin play for the Big 12, a Big 10 West, to go play Ohio State. I think the bigger monkey wrench potentially is Michigan. If Michigan can beat Ohio State, now you've got a one-loss Ohio State, and I think that probably pushes out. That may open the door. It certainly changes the order. That may push them to 4 and bring in an Oklahoma potentially.
Yeah.
But it certainly doesn't solidify that if Georgia beats LSU in the SEC championship game, then 2 SEC teams are getting in and this whole conversation is moot. But if Minnesota beats Wisconsin and then goes and beats Ohio State, Minnesota's in. They're in. If they win out. And they're 12-1
in Big Ten champs.
with wins over Penn State,
right? Ohio State,
Wisconsin, Ohio State. They're in. They're in. So a lot of teams I think do control their destiny in that respect. I just don't think it's realistic for a lot. I don't think Minnesota is going to win next week and against Ohio State. If they do, I think they're in. They are in. A 12-1 Big Ten champion that beats Ohio State is in.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree with that. Yeah.
Jeremy Brinkmeyer said, "What are we rooting to happen?"
See, I think that's the luxury of having what is I perceive them to be the best team in the tournament, LSU, or a team that you feel with the most confidence that you will travel with because of what they're bringing to wherever they show up to. I mean, that offense, after watching Ohio State today, after watching Georgia today, after already playing Alabama, after watching these Pac-12 schools on the out west, Matt, if you want to play Alabama again, I'll play Alabama again.
Nobody's stopping LSU.
I mean, they're not going to stop them. They're not going to shut them down.
Yeah.
So for I look at Georgia and I say Georgia's going to have to play outside of their box because they're going to have to score to keep up.
Yeah.
Alabama is you've already had the hands once before. You know what I mean? Come get them again if you want them.
Yeah.
Clemson hadn't played anybody with a heartbeat this year, which I think affected Alabama in the first half of that game because they hadn't played as fast as LSU had because LSU had that urgency in Austin, at Florida, or Florida at home, Auburn. They've had the urgency of playing in a big game. Clemson's yet to feel that.
Yeah.
I think that the best matchup from a national perspective is Ohio State versus LSU. When you look at that defense and what they can they can create some havoc. They have a pass rusher that one-on-one, LSU is going to have to account for every single play. I mean, for whatever reason today, it was mind-blowing that Penn State would single up and block Chase Young one-on-one in situations where they had to have a big play. He was like Glenn Dorsey. Yeah. Remember Dorsey? If you blocked him one-on-one, like he was going to destroy you.
Yeah, you were in trouble.
He was going to blow the play up. Chase Young's that same type of player.
Yeah.
You match him one-on-one, and he will wreck the whole play. And Penn State had an opportunity today, and for whatever reason, that series, they tried to block him one-on-one. I think he made 2 of the 3 tackles.
Yeah, he's a freak show. And he's a problem. I think Clemson's defense might be overall better, but we don't know because we haven't seen it against anything. So I would love to see Clemson, Ohio State in a national semifinal, and then LSU get the winner of that game in New Orleans, which I think is what we're gonna. I think that's so. The question from Jeremy was, "What do you want to see?" I want to see LSU be the 1 seed and have the most favorable draw possible in the 1-4 game, and I think that's having a West Coast team who hasn't played anybody all year come across the country to Atlanta to get LSU. So at this point, I would like to see Utah beat Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game, Utah get in as the 4 seed, and I think LSU wins that game. I think if Oklahoma or Alabama, I just think I'll put you this way. As long as LSU is the 1, and whatever order you have, Ohio State, Clemson is the 2-3, there is a massive gap this year from 3 to 4. It's similar to what happened the year Washington got in. And Alabama was the 1, and Washington was the 4, and Alabama played Washington in the 1-4 game, and it just wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, it just wasn't.
It was varsity
close.
versus JV.
It was just.
Yeah, I mean, it was. It was the big boys versus the little kids.
I think however it goes this year with whoever the 1 seed plays against the 4, that's how it goes. Unless if you have a situation where if Georgia beats LSU, then you probably have 1 Ohio State, 2 Clemson, 3 Georgia, 4 LSU, and then you have Ohio State, LSU in the semis. Like that's the game that's the thing that throws the whole thing off kilter. If one of these teams that we think has a good enough resume to already be in, if they lose, what are they reviewing here? Gary Patterson's rubbing off his sweat like he's still anxious about something.
He looks like he's got the over,
bro.
I mean, I think they're reviewing the spot.
Gary Patterson looks like a WWE manager. I mean, he kind of does.
It's like the bookie at the door.
It's so good.
I'm here to collect.
Oh man. Ryan Leschere says, Matt, you're wrong. You're way wrong. You saw Clemson against the best quarterback in the SEC in Kellen Mond. So battle-tested Clemson against a true winner, Kellen Mond. Self-proclamation. Kellen Mond sucked
worse.
Today. He has. Today was bad.
He's backtracked.
Adam Clark says there a mic on the pillow. Yeah, right here. This is the mic. That's picking us up, and it's plugged into the camera over there. So that's how you're hearing us. And it sounds good instead of like a way distant sound from the phone way over there. By the way, shout out to David Richardson Builder.
Yep. One-stop shop, 413-3267. He's tied to this, or will be tied to this Facebook post. In fact, I'm going to put his name right here in the comment section. And you got to make sure and like and follow old D. Rich on his Facebook page, as he has bought the whiskey and wines and sponsored us for the rest of the season. So shout out to our guy. As he's a one-stop shop. He's got operations, he's got projects all over the city right now. Check out his Facebook to keep up with some of the pictures and what he's got going on.
Justin Thomas said, Matt, are you glad LSU got Clyde instead of ATN? It wasn't Clyde or ATN. LSU was trying to get Cam Akers.
Right.
And Les had Cam Akers. Clyde was the class before.
Yeah.
Les had Cam Akers as a silent verbal. And then instead of ATN. Well, Les gets fired. Akers goes to Florida State. Ogeron tries to get on ATN, but at that point he's like, "I'm good. I'll go to Clemson."
Well, he actually got him to commit for a day, remember? And then Clemson came in.
It was like
and he was like, "No, you know what? I'm going to stick with it."
So anyway, but the thing with Clyde, I think Clyde. This is over. What else is on? Oh, we got
Washington,
or if you want to put Utah on, Clyde. I mean, I said this when Clyde committed to LSU. I hated Clyde committing to LSU in Les's system because Les always recruited. Les got Fournette and Geis and Jeremy Hill and Kenny Hill and like guys that were 220, 230, 6 foot, 6'1", like big physical dot the I backs. That's not Clyde. What you're seeing now is Clyde, and he's phenomenal at it. I always said Clyde could go to Kentucky and be the best back in the history of that program. They build the offense around him, and he'd be phenomenal. But in this offense, look at him. Yeah. He's amazing. He's a Doak Walker finalist.
No, it's unfair to play the game. It's unfair to play the game. What would Jeremy Hill? What would Darius Geis? What would LeBrandon Tofield? What would Leonard Fournette look like in this offense? You've got the perfect fit for it.
You do.
You've got the absolute perfect fit for what they're trying to do in this offense.
LSU, just as a quick aside, we get the question all the time, why isn't John Emery playing more? Aside from the fact, as we've talked about, he can't block because he's never had a pass protect in his life. And if you can't protect Burrow, you can't play. LSU got the ball right before the fourth quarter. And Emery scored the touchdown. On the drive where he scored.
Good too.
No. On the first play of that drive, they threw a pass to Racey McMath. Beautiful play, spun, got a first down. On first down, they threw the ball to John Emery in the left flat. Doink.
Yep.
Can't catch.
Yeah, that's right.
And they went back to him, and he did catch one on that drive.
He did.
But that's been quietly, when you talk to people around practice, like, kid can't catch. Yeah. It's amazing. Like, they struggle throwing him the football because he struggles to catch the football out of the backfield.
Well, and one thing that the back has showed this year in this offense, you got to be able to catch it.
So with that in mind, think about what I've said is the biggest play in the Alabama game. Yeah. 3rd and 10, the ball Clyde picks up off his feet, and then runs over 7 from Diggs from Bama. Like, Emery's not making that play.
Well, and what about the first down going into half on the scissors play? I mean, like those two plays.
He's a receiver.
The biggest plays in the game.
Yeah. All right, what else I got? Let's see just what else I had on my notes.
Jonathan Jacques, why are people clamoring for 4 when you have 22? I don't think that people are asking for Emery to play over Clyde at this point, especially. I think that there was a narrative before the season that Clyde was going to fade out around conference play, and these freshmen were really going to step up and start to take the majority of the carries away. And Emery came in so hyped with the 5-star status, but Moscona and I were talking about it during the summer. We were talking about it during the offseason. No matter who you talked around the program, Ty Davis-Price was the guy. I mean,
scored a touchdown tonight,
freshman. Yeah, he did. And he's the obvious backup running back. But Clyde is the workhorse, man. I mean, he's the absolute centerpiece of what they're trying to do. And here you go. Utah's up 14 on Arizona.
Did they lose? Jock Fisher said LSU left the Magnolia Trophy on the field in Oxford and the boot on the field in Tiger Stadium. They left it on the field tonight?
Well, I don't know if they did that, but they got the Magnolia. They went back and got it. They went back and got it.
Jeb Woodley said, "Are you proud of 3 tonight?" I thought I guess he's talking about Stevens. I don't know if he's talking about Stevens or if he's talking about Price. Both of them were great. I thought we talked about it as we started the show, so if you're just joining, I apologize. But I thought Jacoby Stevens tonight was awesome. I mean, it was what we discussed was you had Maurice Hampton play free safety where Delpit had been out of position, and that allowed Stevens to kick down and play the strong safety spot that Delpit played last year, and he was awesome. I mean, guy had 3 sacks tonight.
I think Stevens behind Burrow is probably the best leader on this team. He's one of those guys that really he takes things personal. That shot at him last week in Oxford, having everybody around him kind of around him. Now look, it didn't motivate or spur him on to make great plays after that. But you like to see somebody on that side of the ball that's vocal and is able to be a leader, and then, to bounce back. I mean, he was playing with a lot of pride tonight. I thought he was going to pick that pass off that he batted to the quarterback.
He was close. The one that the quarterback caught?
Oh, yeah.
So good. There was another one I wanted to ask. Mike Hutchins said Clyde made himself some money this year. There's no doubt. I'm curious if he comes out. I mean,
Why would you come back?
I don't know why. I think especially with shelf life of running back, and his stock will never be higher. I mean, he's proven he can be an every down back.
What would you prove to anybody that you were any better next year by coming back? I mean, if I'm Clyde and if I'm his representation, turn on the film from the second Saturday in November and call us. I mean,
with you. I agree.
And if you don't like that one, turn on the game against Texas.
Clyde has been all right. So look at Clyde's game cast this year. His game log. Clyde, again, so the biggest games of the year, Texas, 15 carries, 87 yards and a touchdown, 4 receptions, 15 yards. Florida, 13 for 134 and 2 scores. Auburn, 26 for 136, 7 catches for 51. Bama, 20 for 103, 3 touchdowns, 9 catches, 77 yards and a score. And then last week, he carried 23 times against Ole Miss.
Who's the SEC Player of the Week right now, isn't he? 23
for 172 and a score, 4 catches for 22. And then tonight, 6 for 188, and he caught the ball 7 times.
He scored on 89, 27, and 26 yards.
Bro, he's got 32 catches this year. That has to be the most catches by a running back since probably Dominic Davis, maybe Kevin Falk. I mean, most catches by a running back, 32. And bro, you got 5 more games.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever that record is, he'll obliterate.
Shatter
it. I mean, this is just a season where they are obliterating everything.
It's incredible.
It is.
Pinch yourself. Again, we started the show with this. Observations from the night.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask. Go ahead.
Has now a 4,000-yard passer, a 1,000-yard rusher, and 2 wide receivers that caught balls for more than 1,000 yards. That's the first time in SEC history you've ever had those dynamics on an offense. And LSU, like Scone said, they still got 5 yards. They still got 5 games left to play. They went over 6,000 yards of total offense tonight. Yeah. I mean, just it's video game stuff that you're watching every single Saturday. I mean, tonight was Justin Jefferson's first drop of the season in the 11th game. I mean,
So I gotta hook up with Jeff McKithen. Jeff McKithen said, let's sip some good bourbon and talk CFP. I clicked on his profile. He's the GM and executive bourbon steward at Palace Cafe.
Wow.
Hey,
buddy.
Jeff, you and
Jordy at 1045ESPN.com. Let's talk advertisement. I'll make sure in the liquor gets the scone.
Bro.
Let's talk about some money, man. Let's do some business.
By the way, I love Palace Cafe. One of my favorite brunch spots in New Orleans. I love to sit upstairs and overlook Canal.
Wow.
You never been?
Yes.
Bro, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
And if you got good bourbon, let's talk, Jeff. Hit me up. Let's trade contacts. That's the guy who said, let's sip some Pappy 23. I'm like, I'm in. You just tell me where to be, brother. I need to be friends with this guy.
Me and Lil Jay heading to New Orleans tomorrow. I'm not scared of Sunday business.
What y'all doing?
We want to say
you going to the game?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the thing. So a bunch of you have asked, so I'm sorry if I'm not calling you out by name because I know a bunch have. I'll just paraphrase the questions and I'll ask you. How bad does the LSU players and coaching staff want to beat A&M?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. They can't get to Saturday fast enough. They are going to beat the brakes off of Texas A&M. They have got something for Texas A&M's ass. And they've had it for about 358 days. They have been Xing the days off until Damian Craig and Jimbo Fisher pull back in to Tiger Stadium.
As much as you think you want LSU to beat the shit out of A&M next week, multiply that by actually being on the field in that game and experiencing that a year ago, and then everything with Damian Craig sprinting across the field.
You don't think that Kevin Falk's been walking around the building talking about Damian
do you
Craig?
think that sequence will just be played on repeat around the complex this week. Like that sequence at the end of the game from last. Brother, I'm gonna tell you what. If
they got the number one team in the country. Like,
I mean,
they're about to play like the number one team in the country.
Y'all, yes, LSU's coaches, players, they want to beat the dog shit out of Texas.
If he can hang 100 on A&M next weekend, he'll hang 100 on them. He'll hang 100.
Like,
I mean, he'll score 80.
This might
think about the times that they could have scored 80 this year.
Yeah,
I mean, Burrow didn't play the whole fourth quarter today.
Yeah. This would be one of those merciless, we're going to embarrass you type games. If they have the opportunity to do it, they'll do it.
No.
I mean,
they want to skull drag A&M.
Yeah.
Anybody that A&M has top on their board on recruiting will be on LSU sideline on Saturday. I mean,
that's true.
Anybody that they have any interest in the state of Texas, anybody that they think is going to make an impact on Texas A&M's recruiting class will be on rolling the red carpet out from LSU's recruiting staff this week. I mean, they are going to needle at Texas A&M forever now because A&M wants to make this thing. They've tried to make this thing a rivalry as much as they can, and LSU's tried to dodge that rivalry jargon. But after the last time they played, they got the wrong people pissed off.
Yeah,
they just got the wrong people pissed off.
Especially with the head coach LSU's got.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's got memory like an elephant.
But as much as he's toned down publicly,
right.
The yah the Wild Boys, all like.
Ripping the shirt off.
Red Bull. It still exists. I mean,
he still does it.
Bro, he still does it.
Yeah.
You just don't see it. He doesn't talk about it. I mean, last week at Ole Miss, I can tackle the staffer in the postgame locker room. I mean, full on tackled the motherfucker. Yeah. I mean, he's still that guy. I mean, we all heard the video of Roll Tide. What? Fuck you. It's. That guy ain't gone, Exactly. He ain't out here playing the banjo, singing Kumbaya and shit. He's still that guy. He's just much more aware publicly of how he's perceived, which is a great thing. But they,
they're about to get their ass kicked.
Ain't it?
What's the number opened up at?
What
is it? Lay them.
Lay the points.
Lay them. I mean,
lay the points.
They're gonna beat the hell out of them.
Lay the points.
How do y'all feel about Zachary Evans? Will he have a positive impact on the team? I don't know anything about his character. I've just seen his film. I'd imagine the recruiting staff has gotten to know him from a personal standpoint, and if they didn't feel like he fit in the locker room, they would make sure of that. But I know he's one hell of a football player, and I think they're going to get him. I've been told from pretty good sources that Marcus Dumerville, the top left tackle, and Zach Evans are guys that they're pretty much counting on to be in this class. There's another tackle out of the state of Texas, Tavarius Crawford, that was committed to Arkansas, decommitted when Chad Morris was fired. And he's another one that I think gets into the class. I think, you started to see some of the numbers being massaged with the Jalen Lee story.
Bro. Man, I had somebody on Twitter. All right, for real. I had somebody on Twitter be like, this is why I never trust these kids until they sign on the dotted line with the Jalen Lee. I'm like,
yeah.
Jalen Lee, all that kid wanted to do was play at LSU.
I mean, dude, he's crushed.
Yeah.
He's crushed.
He didn't decommit from LSU. They don't have a spot for him anymore.
LSU decommitted from him.
Because LSU has a glut of 5-stars that don't want to play for him now.
Jordan Birch, Zach Evans, Marcus Dumerville. I mean, those three right there.
Those are national prospects that you don't. If they want to play, if they want to commit, if they want to sign with you, you find a spot for them. So you find a spot for them.
It's the bad. It's the
shitty part of recruiting.
It's the ugly part.
But here's the flip side of it. Okay,
early signing period.
It's the reason why I love the early signing period.
Definitely.
So. Yeah, there's no question that it makes it more difficult for the coaches. But what it does is for a kid like Jalen Lee, this happens now in November instead of in February.
Yep.
So now that kid has 3 months to go take visits and find out where he's going to play. and be recruited and go through the whole process instead of standing there in February going, everybody's full. What do I do?
No.
Like, who do you remember? Who was the kid from Denham? There was a defensive line.
Tevin
Lawson.
Tevin Lawson.
Tevin Lawson was like the first commit that LSU had that year, and on signing day or the week of signing day, they were full and they're like, Tevin, we got to purge you. So I think he ended up at TCU. But like a kid like that who had been singularly committed for like 2 years, didn't take his visits, didn't go through the process because he was LSU, and then the week of signing day, you don't have a spot for him. What does that kid do? That's why I like the early signing period. Because now that kid learns that information in December instead of February. Now he's got time to go find where he's going to be.
That's a positive.
Before classes are full.
That's the plus point of why it was put in for the student athlete.
No question.
To give them an opportunity.
I'm for it.
Where you couldn't get to National Signing Day and they don't call and they say, hey, man, the class is filled up.
Yeah.
And
Darren Seals watching.
MBS
stud. Quarterback. Yeah. Darren Seals.
Stud.
John Bailey, best postgame show in the country.
Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah. Cheers, John.
But yeah, that's the ugly part of recruiting. But with LSU's popularity right now, I mean, like Philip Webb, he's another one. Fucking monster, bro. I mean, like they're gonna get him. They're gonna get this kid. They're going to get Jordan Birch. They're going to get Zach Evans.
Yeah.
They're going to get Marcus Dumerville.
Yeah.
They're going to get the tackle out of Texas. I mean, like I think that they're going to call Jadeveon Clowney's brother and tell him he can't play.
Yeah, big sorry.
Sorry,
Satan Clowney. What's his name?
Like
Satan Clowney, something.
Demon
Clowney.
That's right. Demon.
Satan Demon. Satan.
I mean,
remember Church Lady? That's so good. Derek Russell, had my annual game day White Claw today. That's about all I've got to say. Thank you, Derek, for that. Darren James watching. What's up, DJ? Let's see. Mark Allen said you need to put another log on the fire.
Yeah, it's a little toasty in here. I'm
good. Yeah, really good. Ryan Peters, Matt, I stumbled on the Redemption Rye at Calandros. Drinking it neat with some honey. Good shit, straight or mixed. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Let me see if there's anything else I had on my notes. What's going on in these games? Who we got left? Utah? What's Utah doing?
Let's see. We're up 2 scores.
I had one more thing. Well, 2 things. Number 1, 5 had another rough day.
Yes. Well, dude, 5's the fish. 5's the fish. I mean, anybody that has any offensive prowess about him is going to find 5 on the snap of the ball when they break the huddle, when they get to the line of scrimmage, and that's where they're going.
You ever see the replacements?
Yeah.
You know, whenever the kicker is going to do the onside, he's lining up the onside kick, and he's looking, he goes, "Where is he?
Where is he?
There's my bitch." It's like, that's it, bro. That's 5. Come on, man.
There's our guy.
Golly. Even last week he gets a pick and then he gets
Takes
a penalty after the pick. It's like, you can't even win. You lose when you win.
I said he was running Facebook last week because everything he touches turns to shit.
The other thing, they threw it 24 twice today, and he had 2 PBUs.
Yeah. Keep coming at him, bro.
Oh man, I
saw somebody asking who's going to get number 7 next year when Delbert leaves. Stingley's going to wear number 7 for 2020 and 2021.
Oh, have they decided that?
No.
Oh yeah,
but they told him that in recruiting.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and who else would you give it to?
I
know you don't like those games.
I just don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you do. I just don't. I mean, my line has always been, I don't care if you put a poop emoji on the front of somebody's shirt. Just go play ball. I just don't care what number you wear. Shout out Blake Powers on Twitter. Look, he's got us on his TV, and they're drinking with us. See, look at our guy. About a Blake Powers. Cheers. They got full fucking port.
They are and brown.
Now, I'm gonna tell you what he's got Sprite in there. That's what he's drinking. He's drinking whiskey and Sprite, which is fine. No judgment here. Just make sure it's not good stuff that you got mixed in there. What else? What's Utah doing? This
is it right here. 14-0.
Utah. What about Colorado? I got Colorado in the points. Colorado plus 14.
Let's
Come on.
Let's see,
Come on, Muffaloes. The Colorado Muffaloes. Washington at Colorado. Colorado Muffaloes. Is this halftime? Is that what? How about that deep ball? Gorgeous.
Beautiful pass.
That was beautiful. All right, what y'all got? Let's see. Please hit the share if you've not done so yet. Remember, this audience, we love you live. So our audience continues to build over the entire course of the week of the show. So please hit the share. More people will see it. We appreciate you greatly. Let me run through these. JL Nix, how about Emery? Talked a little bit about him. What about Curry? Curry got in late. Mike Detillier told us today on pregame, and Mike talked to O this week, and he said this on pregame, so I don't mind saying it. Mike talked to Ogeron this week, and Ogeron said he was pretty excited about Hampton playing defense. And he said they were going to really try to get Chris Curry some action today. It just didn't work out.
Yeah,
I mean, they gave Emery touches, Clyde and Price, and then Emery. I don't know, dude. I don't know what you do. See, the future of the running back position is interesting because if Clyde goes pro. Which he should. And if Chris Curry transfers, now you've got Emery, Price, and then I guess if Zach Evans comes in, now you got three really good backs.
Right.
But you only got three.
Yeah.
And there ain't nobody else back there. So numbers wise, you're thin.
I thought that you would see more of Curry this year. I just think that he just got lost in the shuffle, and I think it tells you about
baby beast mode.
Yeah, no, right.
Dude, don't get me started, bro. Because last year I had to listen to all that shit. Curry's gonna be the lead. I'm like, y'all fucking idiots, man. Like, fans convince themselves.
Richard Murphy in spring.
Jesus Christ. Fans convince themselves that every guy who comes in as a freshman is going to be the fucking next, Maurice Claret. And the reality is, there's only been one Maurice Claret. Like, freshman running backs, Leonard Fournette didn't really even emerge as a freshman until the Florida game. Mid-October as a freshman. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he scored against Sam Houston, did the Heisman pose, and we're all like...
Chill, bro. Chill.
That's an FCS school, cat. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, whatever. I'm not trying to shit on the kid.
No,
whatever. 5 did sniff out screen passes.
You better. I mean, man, thank you.
Clifford Franklin's only the one coming down with.
They go play.
Clifford Franklin. That's
they
his
go
name.
Play.
Oh man. Jason Truax, you think Brennan's the guy to keep the momentum going?
I think if Brennan can make the leap that he made from his redshirt year last year to where he is now, I think that LSU will be in good hands. I still think that they're looking for quarterbacks in this class. I don't think that they're really secure in their quarterbacks in this class. I think they like Max Johnson. I think TJ Finley's got some maturing to do. And I think that De'Aaron King is a possibility.
Oh, that was Waterboy.
What?
The kicker is like, that's my bitch. That was Waterboy. The kicker from the replacements was the British guy.
The English guy. The pub guy.
In the post-game locker room, he's in his fucking nighty whities with his helmet on. It was Waterboy. There's my bitch. Yeah, that was him. Let's see. Austin Labe. Matt, next bourbon to be added to my collection chip. Well, I don't know what you have, Austin. I don't know what you have. I need to know what you have to know what you should add. Will Ensminger or Brady get the nod for the Broyles? Well, Ensminger is not a semifinalist. Brady was a semifinalist. Yeah. You think Ensminger's been a little disrespected? He's gotten zero credit for this shit. Like, he has gotten zero credit. None.
If there's one human being that would be okay with that, Ensminger would be personally. Like, I don't think that he needs the absolute satisfaction of all the attention.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, this is Brady's deal. I mean, it's not. I think that Ensminger deserves a ton of credit for. What people don't understand is that Ensminger was a part of the entire interview process for Joe Brady.
Mm.
He was there on day one when he broke down the Saints screen game. They saw him for the first time to all 5 interviews that they brought him in for. And he was the one that he looked at O and said, "We got to hire him. I mean, they got to get this guy. We got to get this guy."
Muffalos. I did say Muffalos. They're like, did you say Muffalos?
Probably.
Yeah, I did.
Probably.
Intentionally, I've said Colorado Buffaloes not my whole life,
But I mean, like, Joe Brady's the
college.
best assistant coach in college football. The next time that somebody tells you that coaching does not matter, just tell them Joe Brady. I mean, if there's one example that could just flip the narrative, is LSU's offense has gone from the ice ages to record-breaking fashion in just one season because of one guy, really.
Yeah.
I mean, because of one guy's vision of what they brought in and said, look at this talent.
Can I throw this at you? What if LSU just had freak show fucking talent, and it took a guy who knew how to run that offense? Look at Shaq with that talent to make it work. Like, my point is, I'll put it this way: I think if Joe Brady left tomorrow, and you brought in the next guy who understood this, and you gave him Joe Burrow and Clyde and Jefferson and Chase and Marshall and Moss. Yeah, really good fucking offense.
This year was a match made in heaven.
So people keep asking, is Brennan the guy to keep it going? Let me give you. Remember, so if y'all have been watching for a while, a bit ago I brought up the throw Mond missed.
Yeah.
Right. Beautiful. Well, here's the highlights of the game right here. Beautiful play. Like the call was perfect. Safety was too deep. Route goes under the safety, over the corner. He's got 10 yards of separation, and Mond just airmails it. My point is, what if next year that's Miles Brennan, and the play call is perfect?
Yeah, right.
Play call's perfect.
Yeah,
Safety's deep, and the kid just misses. Burrow makes the throw this year, but the kid just misses the throw.
Right. Which is going to happen.
Does he suck? Does Joe Brady suck?
Well, which is going to happen because it's the same thing that was happening when you were watching Breeze and Teddy early on. Is when you're watching a guy throw balls at a, from Breeze's standpoint, a 74.6 completion rate, and you're watching Burrow throw the ball at a 80% completion rate, you're not going to get that type of production. You're not going to get that type of accuracy, precision.
What we're watching with Joe Burrow,
it's historic.
It's
fucking historic,
I really don't,
man.
Because we keep talking about Brady, people are assuming that this is a reason.
Yeah, it just carries over. It doesn't, man. It doesn't. Brady's
Burrow,
giving them the concept and the ideas. You got to have a dog out there that sees it. And here's the deal about Burrow that we discount. He's a pro in his preparation. Mm-hmm. He's a pro in the way that he approaches the game. I mean, like Brady told me a couple of weeks back. He said, Jordy, he's a pro from everything to the way that he dresses. He said, have you ever noticed that Burrow never shows? He never shows from his knee to his ankle in the game. He's always covered up like an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Said it could because he approaches it like he's a pro.
That's a good point.
And you know what? You go back and watch the film. That cat's got purple socks pulled up to his knees every time he takes the field.
Yeah, you're right. Because that's how they do it in the NFL. You're right.
It's amazing, and that's the match. And early on, Burrow said it. He would say, "Look, it's rare you find somebody that loves the game like you do. That's a coach and the player.
Yeah,
and that's that's where those guys kind of melted into one another." In the summer, because they couldn't leave the film room. Yeah, they were both just sitting side by side the entire summer. I don't think that you get that. That's the part that you probably lose.
I agree. People keep asking about Brennan. Cross that bridge when you get here. But I'll put it to you this way: if you have the Eric King, if you have a grad transfer quarterback interested, you 100% take him. It's not even a question. Does Joe Brady or Steve Ensminger rate a nod for the Broyles?
Yeah, Brady's going to win it. I mean, Brady's the best coach. He's the best assistant coach in college football.
Pac-12 doing their part to make sure Bama gets into the Final Four. David Furr, we talked about that. I still don't know. Like, it would be unprecedented if Alabama got in over a one-loss conference champ. So if 2-loss Oregon beats Utah, the door's open. If Oklahoma were to lose and you had a 2-loss Big 12 champ, the door's open. But it would be unprecedented for Bama to get in over a one-loss conference champion. Not to say it won't happen, but it would be unprecedented. Stephen Robert, Matt Leinart just said Ohio State is the best team in the country. Who gives a fuck what Matt Leinart said?
What did he say?
Ohio State's the best team in
Cool.
the country.
I mean,
Okay,
look, man.
Matt
they're
Leinert's
gonna
one
get their
fucking guy who
shot.
played quarterback 20 years ago. I'm not worried about Matt Leinart.
They're going to get
Okay.
their shot, man.
I said Ohio State or LSU's the best team in the country.
LSU wins
Who
for
the
the
fuck
next
cares?
2 weeks. If LSU beats A&M, goes into Atlanta, and beats another top 5 team in Georgia, pretty much in their backyard for a title, for an SEC title, and you look at their resume, top to bottom, start to finish, and they're not the number 1 team in the country, blow the deal up, man.
Can I just point something out real quick to Matt Leinart and to anyone who has any question? Let me read to you what Ohio State has done to prove they're the best team in the country. FAU, Cincinnati, Indiana, Miami of Ohio, Nebraska, Michigan State, Northwestern, Wisconsin, Maryland, Rutgers, Penn State. And the Penn State game was 28-17, the first time they failed to score more than 30 all year. Fuck you, Matt Leinart. Who gives a shit what Matt Leinart has to say?
Amen.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, like,
The one time so far we've seen Ohio State get tested, they get challenged by a backup quarterback at Penn State on their home field. Watch Michigan. Did you see Shea Patterson today?
yeah.
Shea Patterson threw 5 touchdowns. Shea Patterson today finally looked like the Shea Patterson people that we thought. And all of a sudden, Michigan has an offense. Ever since they lost to Penn State, 45, 38, 44, 39. That's their point totals. Since they lost to Wisconsin. Like, that woke them the fuck up.
Yeah.
Welcome back to reality, a-holes. Anyway. I don't know, bro. After today, after watching Georgia and Ohio State today, the only question I have about LSU winning the national championship after today is, what about Clemson?
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen Clemson in a tough game.
No doubt.
And Clemson is beating the dog shit out of everybody. Like, ever since Clemson played North Carolina, nobody has paid any attention to Clemson. And Clemson has played. Catholic High played a tougher schedule this year than Clemson.
100%.
Edna Carr and St. Thomas More. And I mean, they played some fucking dogs this year. You know what I mean? And Clemson has played
Nobody.
Georgia Tech, A&M, Syracuse, Charlotte, North Carolina, Florida State, Louisville, Boston College, Wofford, NC State, and Wake Forest.
Dabo, you bastard.
You know what I mean? It's like cakewalk.
Bastard.
And all we pay attention to is what happened with that North Carolina game, 21-20. Since then, 45-14, 45-10, 59-7, 59-14, 55-10, 52-3. They scored 50 or more in 4 straight games. Wow. I mean, they are skull-fucking everybody. Yeah. But that was against BC, Wofford, NC State, and Wake. I'm pretty sure Wake is the only team on that record on that schedule with a winning record. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Boston College is 5-6. Wofford, I don't care. NC State's 4-7. No, Wake is 8-3, but they lost 52-3.
And look, man, that to me will haunt you. If you're an elite team and you don't test yourself in the regular season, that will haunt you. Look at Alabama in that first half last weekend in Tuscaloosa, 2 weeks ago in Tuscaloosa. They couldn't catch up because LSU had played with so much urgency. They understood the urgency that you had to play with in these big game environments. Not that Alabama's program hadn't been there, but the 2019 team had not. And Clemson has not been in the ring yet with a heavyweight. And they may respond. They may respond from the opening jump. But I like LSU's odds to be more prepared because, hell, man, they've just been there. And just like everything that you do, we do in life, experience, if you got it, you feel more secure.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and that's where LSU is as far as compared to the field, compared to the rest of the heavyweights, the elites. LSU's resume is better.
It is.
It's better.
The challenge, though, is so if you look at LSU and you say, okay, but they have 4 top 10 wins, one of those is Texas, and Texas is dog shit. They lost again today. Auburn's outside of the top 10. Really, you've got Bama and then Georgia, provided that they beat Georgia. I'm sorry, Auburn. And Auburn is outside of the top 10 now, too. But yeah, whatever metric you want to use, I really don't care. The bottom line is LSU's been in really tough games. And you can also look and say, what if Texas had beaten LSU? How different is their season? Don't know. Auburn's losses this year, LSU, Florida, Georgia. I mean, okay, like, sorry you've had to play a
right.
Florida lost at LSU, neutral site to Georgia. Like, that's why I get the kick, man. These people talking about, like, the group of 5. Give the group of 5 teams a shot. What if Florida went and played Cincinnati's schedule? What if Auburn went and played Navy's schedule? Like, what if 30 teams in the Power 5 went and played that bullshit? They'd be undefeated. I mean, anyway, whatever. Bobby Bennett, what's the DBU sweatshirt? Where's the DBU sweatshirt from?
I got this from Corey Webster.
Whatever, punk.
Corey Webster sells the he sells the DBU gear.
Oh, he sells it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He sells it.
Garrett Broussard, John Brady story time.
Yeah, I got a John Brady story for you. Sunday morning, he called me and said, "Culotta, what the fuck are you doing telling stories about my ass on social media? Don't ever fucking do that again, please." You go, "Is that all right?" I mean, shit, I'm waking up with text messages and phone calls from people I ain't talked to in 4 fucking years asking me about the fucking Pokey Chapman and Garrett Temple shit. Don't do that bullshit anymore, man. Am I gonna have to fucking call Moscona? I was like, yeah, you need to call Moscona, man. It's fucking his idea, man. Fuck, let me call you back, shit. God damn.
I called him. I called him. I was like, "Coach, apologize. Didn't."
Shit. Fuck. I mean, you gotta tell those. I figured you'd tell the one about when fucking Strohmeyer's family came to the game when he was a fucking recruit. I'm not telling you more stories. God damn, Culotta. I'm waking up, got text messages from fucking people I ain't talked to in a fucking decade. You see that Facebook Live shit that Culotta and Moscona do? I don't even know they do a fucking show. What are you talking about?
Oh shit!
They're telling stories about you doing something. It was a bad loss last night.
Oh, bro,
That was a fucking brutal.
You know what it was?
That was a brutal loss.
All right. Here's
LSU basketball.
Here's my comp. Florida State last year in the Bahamas.
I thought it was worse though, bro.
Top 15 team.
Yeah,
bro,
it was.
bro, they had that team on the ropes. They let them back in it. They blew it down the stretch. Went to
Shot
overtime
selection
and
and
lost it.
turnovers.
Terrible.
Golly. Darius Day's got 14 in the first half. You can't run we don't run a set for him in the second half? Ugh.
I'm not going to say anything about Will because I already got too many coaches at LSU's campus that hate me. So I'm not. Will, I think, still likes me. So I'm not going to say anything.
No, he
about
does, and you can talk. But this is what I love about Will is that you could have him on the radio and ask him what happened in the last 6 minutes of the Utah State game, and he'll tell you we got outcoached. We weren't prepared. You know what I mean? Like bad shot selection and turnovers.
Yeah.
That will kill. That killed the '96 Bulls.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, playing with what type of lead. You can't just run down, jack the ball up, miss, and then come back and turn it over. Just the lack of a point guard kills them, bro. The lack of somebody that you can turn to in the last 4 minutes and say, look, bro, just control this thing. Don't turn it over and set us up on good shots.
I think Will Wade is awesome. I think Ed Ogeron is awesome. I think Paul Maneri is awesome. I think Nikki Fargas is awesome. I think Dee Bro is awesome. Yeah. Who's the
Dee Bro?
Who's the swimming coach?
I have no idea.
The swimming coach is awesome.
They pay Dee Bro like she's a swim coach too.
I think who coaches? I think Fran Flory is awesome.
She's
I
awesome.
think Beth Torina really is awesome.
She is awesome.
Beth Torina is probably my favorite person at LSU.
She's.
I hope she wins. Well, I hope LSU football wins a national championship this year, but I hope Beth wins a national championship.
Me too. She deserves one, man.
Yeah, she's awesome. She really is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, they're all awesome. I think LSU's athletic administration is awesome. I think the university administration is awesome. I think the PR department, university, athletics, awesome, the best. Just the best. You see, the best. I think LSU's assistants in every sport. The best. Awesome.
You see.
I think every LSU player should win national awards in every sport.
You see that time, Brady.
Dead Soxy, SOXY. Y'all check out Dead Soxy. Oh, by the way, Jeff McKithen asked about if this was a Maker Select. It is. So, Jeff, I went at dinner tonight at Rufino's. I went to, did pregame, shot over to Rufino's. They had a 45-day dry age ribeye, so I had it there. This is Rufino's Private Select, their Maker's Mark Private Select, and Howard at Rufino's. I told him, I was like, hey, man, I'm going to do whiskey and wine. I was like, oh, drink this on the show tonight. I was like, hell yeah. Well, I've had it. It's fantastic. It's 110 proof. That is right in my wheelhouse. You get above a 110, it starts to get a little too hot for me. Although some, I don't know, man, like some of the ryes, the BTAC ryes, I got a my 2017 Handy is a 128 proof, and it's amazing, and it ain't too hot. But anyway, this is fantastic. You go to Rufino's, get their Maker's Mark Private Select. Trust me, drink it neat or rocks. You'll love it. But yes, Jeff, to answer your question, that's what I am drinking there. Maker's Private Select from Rufino's. That's what I'm drinking tonight. And Jared Addison, I'm fixing to haunt y'all. I'm in my drawers. Oh, you good, bro? Let's see. Mike Oresco lobbied for Cincinnati 3 days ago. I know. All right. How long have we been going, Culotta? What does it say on there? Does it say? No. What time do we start? Gregory Flitter, Matt, Fresh Markets. No, we will be doing brunch tomorrow. My sister-in-law's birthday is today, so we're going to family brunch tomorrow for Lauren, aka Roro. So we'll be at brunch tomorrow morning. So no Fresh Market. Let's do like 10 more minutes.
Yep.
We'll bounce. Stop skipping leg day, Jordy. It's from Matt Irby.
Beach workout, bro.
Well, De'Ara King's in Baton Rouge next week? Is he?
For a visit?
Blake Ruffino. I mean, he may just be guessing. I don't know.
I mean, there's interest on both sides.
Cortland Jacob. Do we still have 3+ early round picks at DB on this team?
Fulton, Delpit, Stingley? Like all in all, or like this year?
I don't know. He didn't specify,
I mean,
but those are all first rounders.
I mean, Jacoby Stevens. Don't you think he's played himself into a top 3 round draft pick? Versatile as shit.
You think he comes out?
Yeah.
Wow.
I do.
Bro, if he comes out, they're
screwed at safety.
paper thin next year because you're losing Delpit. You'll get Todd Harris back off of injury.
Yeah.
Do you kick Marcel Brooks back? Or do you play Brooks in the Jacoby Stevens role?
If you lose Caleb, then Marcel Brooks has to be your next Caleb. It depends on what they do in recruiting.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan Birch could come in and start. I mean, really, realistically, I mean, have you seen that guy? He's a fucking wrecker. I mean, like,
What about Andre Anthony and Ray Thornton?
you can't count on. Not.
I'm
not
fucking
these
kidding,
guys.
bro. I'm kidding.
I mean, like,
That was my obligatory Andre Anthony, Ray Thornton comment because we've talked about those guys for 3 years and they still haven't done anything.
Yeah.
God bless them, but
who recovered the fumble in Tuscaloosa? Thornton. Yeah. Talk about that forever.
He happened to be standing there when Tua dropped the ball and he
Right
dove
place,
on
right
it.
time.
Good job, bro. Thanks. Patrick Hall, Matt, Coach Pulmonary loves you. Not after Terrio did his rant this year, bro. I'm like, you realize I didn't do the rant? It was Terrio that did the rant. I didn't do it. I was sitting in the room.
It was your show, Matt.
Like, I was just sitting in the room, and he went off.
Sorry.
Why am I guilty for that?
Oh! Fucking Terrio. He's so funny. So was a great rant, though.
It was perfect.
And bro, they turned it around.
It was great.
They turned it
Though they all saw it. Everybody saw it.
No
Everybody
doubt
saw it.
about it. No doubt about it. The best were like the text message for people like, whoa, dude, that was crazy. I think they took down all the Terrier's images inside the building, like all over the lock. I mean, they took his shit down, bro.
I'm not going there, bro.
I'm trying to stay away
I'm
from
not
it,
going
but it's
there.
so funny.
Jeremy Brinkmeyer, Matt, have you and Coach O buried the hatchet? I mean, I'm just here. I just exist. I didn't know there was a hatchet. I have nothing against the guy. I didn't like the hire. Okay, I'm one of
Did you see
8.
Herman headbutting his guys?
Yeah, I'm one of 8.7 million people that thought it was a terrible hire. Okay, the guy's done awesome. I'm pumped. I'm fucking pumped,
The bandwagon has sunk.
bro.
Everybody's on now, man.
It's how could you not be? Like, he's done awesome. He's changed the staff. He's changed the offense. He's recruited. He's done awesome. He proved me wrong. He proved everybody wrong.
Yeah.
Like, the only people that were for him were people who had something to like, who were like fucking at skin. Well, I should say skin in the game, but like fucking knew the guy and were like, I mean, come on.
Told you so.
Right, shut the fuck up. And what were you saying after Troy? I'm gonna go pull up the post game from Troy. Is what I'm gonna do. You're gonna. I was driving the bus. My bad. Anyway, Chuck Winstead golf, awesome,
Right.
awesome. He and I like Chuck. That really.
Yeah, me too. And he's a great coach. I mean, like, legit.
No, yeah, he's
I mean,
awesome.
legit.
He is. Mike. Hey, Shelly Post Martin, what's up?
Tony Jacket.
Ooh,
what's up?
Patrick Walker said I offered Camus. Jordy denied me.
Yeah, you know what, Pat? And I fucking saw the text message. I mean, you're more than welcome to come on over, buddy.
Who's Patrick Walker?
He's a ancient athlete,
Who?
stud.
Hey, Jordy, how's Dick Vitale doing?
Whew, I kind of felt bad for Dick on that Wiseman take. Did you see that Wiseman take? I mean, like, God damn, Dick. I want to call you out, but you know what, man? I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to be respectful. I mean,
Sorry,
geez, bro,
man.
just take it.
Oh, did you go see Shaq yesterday?
I didn't see it. I didn't go. I bailed. I bailed on everything. I was supposed to go see Arch Manning. I was supposed to go see Shaq.
I was, dude.
Just
I had VIP for Shaq yesterday, and I was like, he goes on at
Nick,
midnight.
the intern went. Yeah, midnight.
He was like, I was like, he goes on at midnight in a tent in the Fred's parking lot.
Yeah. Send me pics. I told Nick the intern, make sure you get great video, bro. Send it to me as if I was here.
Oh God. Jock Fisher, I love the show. Somebody just said, Matt, your cursing comes across as unprofessional. Otherwise, I love the show.
Oh God. Last week, bro. You know this conversation we had when you're like, you know those Sunday mornings after whiskey and wine when you wake up and you're like, did I say anything that could have got me fired?
Yeah.
Last Sunday, every time my phone buzzed or rang, I was like, is that Gordy or Flynn?
Why?
I mean, bro, we were telling some pretty
The Brady
crazy
stuff?
Yeah.
Ah.
But you had that. I hear you.
Yeah.
We're good. We're
Yeah.
good. We're all good.
At this point,
We're
Hey,
all good. Just
by the way,
land the plane.
to the gentleman who asked who thinks my cursing is unprofessional, have you never watched an R-rated movie? People fucking curse. I fucking curse. I say shit and damn and fuck and bitch, and I just don't think cursing is a bad thing. I don't think it's a poor reflection on anybody.
Your boy Gary V. I mean, that's
Yeah,
his deal.
yeah.
That's his
Oh,
shtick.
yeah. I just, how hypocritical.
Yeah.
Like, I'm watching a game, a bad play happens, I go, oh, fuck. What, so I just can't do it here? Like, I'm being authentic.
I've got a terrible mouth.
I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, I don't curse on terrestrial radio because I'm not allowed. But I don't care. I think I can communicate my message without it. But if I'm sitting here and we're having some drinks and all hanging out, who gives a shit if we curse? Like,
I scream cuss into a towel at 8-year-old flag football.
smart.
You know what I mean? Like,
Smart.
Just put the towel in my mouth and just
Smart. For sure. But then again, 8-year-old football, you need to get
it's a little intense. It's intense. You know
that's-
what I mean?
that's-
You look
that's
back on it,
pretty
you're
absurd.
like, okay.
But then I'll put it to you this way.
All right.
So like if I do like tomorrow morning, I'll do morning scone. I know a lot of people when they start their day, they're doing breakfast and kids. I'm not cursing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's 11:07 on a Saturday. LSU just played. We're drinking, and we put like an NSFW language disclaimer, like you know what you're coming into. It's 11. Jordy's kids are in the other, but they're sleep. Jordy's kids is sleeping in there, like right?
Yeah.
I mean, like
Josh Beam agreed. Fuck everybody.
Cursing just doesn't offend me. Like I just
no, it doesn't.
I don't care. Jacques Fisher cursing, chew and do it.
Stand them up.
Oh my gosh.
Jacques Fisher cursing equals passion. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Dustin, bro, I appreciate y'all being awesome on the show. Let it flow. Cheers. I don't see the fucking problem. I love this show.
Me too, bro.
I love this show.
I mean, I don't know what everybody's fucking problem is. Touchdown, Washington.
Bunch of bitches. Oh man. Chew and do it. It's always the one guy. I mean, this has got to be the most successful post game, certainly Facebook, anything like that anybody has ever done.
They can't hold us down either.
No.
They can't hold us down, even though we do have to come up with some type of. We got to come
We're
up with some type
sitting
of launch pad.
We're sitting in your living room. Last week, you race over to my house. We're sitting on my patio smoking cigars. But you know what? It's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, they can't hold us down.
How about Haggai Davis? Haggai Davis. If you don't like cursing, eat shit and die.
I tell you, Haggai introduced me as Holtberg at the St. Jude Men's Club.
No.
Yes. Brought me, you know, those men clubs things like on Wednesday nights. So Haggai, bro.
How did that
And
go
I've been
over?
busting his ball. I've been busting.
How did that
I've been
go
busting
over?
her balls so
How did
bad.
that go over? Oh,
So he's like,
oh
say, dude, I'm a lifer, St. Jude.
Yeah.
Lifer.
Yeah.
Kindergarten to 8th grade. I mean, like, gave him a decade. Gave him more than a decade, bro. Hung a couple of banners up on the way out. You know what I mean? Like 7th and 8th grade CSAL champs, football and basketball.
Oh my god.
Hi, guys. Like, it is great to have one of our own back here with us. You hear him every morning on the radio. He spent 10 years here. He's St. Jude. He's got it in his heart. He lives and breathes it. He's a cougar for life. Ladies and gentlemen, or gentlemen of the men's club, let's give a warm welcome back to one of our own, Jordy Holtberg. I'm like, are you fucking with me right now? Are you fucking? And he gave like the red-faced blush, like, oh shit, god damn it. It's Jordy Culotta. Jordy Culotta, like, even worse, like, you really fucked it up.
What about the people
Everybody's like, ooh, burn.
Wait, what about the people that don't know the difference between
Yeah.
Jordy and Gordy?
No,
How many times? Hey, Gordy does the morning show, right?
I'm sorry, dude.
No. I'm like, no, he doesn't.
I mean,
Gordy's the guy that
you're
doesn't.
Gordy, right? I'm like, no, motherfucker. I'm like, what do you mean I'm a Gordy?
It's like, you know the guy. You know, I'm like crying. Do you know the guys at ESPN, like all the guys of Indian descent, have like a group text message, like Dari Noka and like Kevin Nagandi or Middle Eastern
Adnan Burke.
Adnan Burke, Adam Amin.
Yeah.
They're all on a text message, and every time someone approaches them, like, "Hey, I love your work," and someone says the wrong name, they send a group text message. And they get them all wrong.
Charlie Cavell, Gordy Holtberg.
Got him. Jordy Holtberg. He's my favorite. He's my favorite. Doesn't work here. Gordy Holtberg. All right, I think we're done.
Matt Irby. Let it go, Jordy. You were crying about that a month ago in OTB. Matt, I'll never fucking let it go, man.
Okay.
Love you, bro.
Y'all have a good night. Share, like, and share. Dead Soxy, David Richardson. Oh man.